The Her Business by Design podcast is for female business owners looking for inspiration and ideas on how they can elevate their leadership and level up their business and profits. We explore all aspects of business ownership with a particular focus on empowering women to be strong leaders by providing them with the knowledge to cultivate a positive and productive business culture. So join us, Elaine Richards and Tamara Lloyd, founders of Business by Design Duo, for inspired chats with our favourite female business owners to uncover their journey, tips and ideas to help you in business.
Hello, how are you today, Tamara?
I am excellent and you are looking so nice and bright today. I love that green colour on you.
Oh, thanks, Tam. And green's my favourite colour and you look absolutely smashing yourself in your favourite blue dress.
I know. Look at us. We're all bright and cheery today. We've recovered from our 21st birthday.
I know.
Celebrations. If you didn't listen to last week's podcast, it was our 21st podcast last week. So, we had our party hats on and...
Time flies. We're on to 22 now.
No, it's been great. We've actually had a really positive week with our... we've been working behind the scenes busily on a leadership archetype quiz, which you can find out a bit more about on our website. But it's a 5-minute quiz to take, but there was a lot of effort that goes into creating that to help people get a bit of an idea on what style of leadership might be I guess their main style and the pros and cons that come with that, things to be aware of. If people are interested, they can jump on to businessbydesignduo.com.au and at the top you'll see a Take Our Leadership quiz and you'll explain a bit more about it there. But that was a big thing for us to get up and running.
It was. And how rewarding was it to receive the feedback from people that had jumped on and taken the quiz and they've sent us messages of support and said, wow, that was so accurate. And I really connected with that. And I guess there is a lot of work that goes into these things and it's really nice once it's completed to get feedback. I loved it.
Absolutely. And we'll be doing more of those things around the leadership archetypes. I mean, that's just a quiz. It's not the full assessment, but certainly gives people a taste of it. And, we just put it out in our personal sort of Facebook page and a couple of groups story and it was great to get the feedback. So you'll see over the next few weeks that we'll be pushing out a campaign around that quiz. So stay tuned to see all that and take 5 minutes and
jump on and do the quiz.
Exactly. Or send it to some friends or, whoever you think might be another business owner, or even someone that's interested in going into leadership roles. It's sort of useful to get a bit of an understanding.
Yeah.
So, but that sort of leads a little bit into our
topic
today, which I guess leadership covers – it's very a broad area, but one thing that's really important when you're running a business with staff is staff retention, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, Elaine.
Yes, I think it's something that we forget about, retention and staff, and we need to invest in it a bit more, but be prepared and plan for it.
I don't think we forget about it.
People
in general. Yeah.
Yes.
I think people maybe haven't realised how important it is into the last few years. I think it's been highlighted more and more now that
it's so hard to get staff.
Good staff and people that want to work full time, part-time roles.
Part-time,
working from home. We've had to become more flexible workforce, which has got a lot of positives, but it certainly can make things a bit more challenging for business owners.
I think you've got to be a little bit creative and take a step back and think about how you can invest and keep really good quality staff that you have.
Absolutely. And we've touched on it in different podcasts, but we thought we really just wanted to focus on it. And I think the reasons that it's so important is obviously the cost of employing people is very high. So if you go through recruiters or even if you do it yourself, and then the downtime that it takes your other staff members or yourself to train people, I mean, you can spend weeks, months training people, and then if they don't work out, you've just sort of wasted the time of those people, including yourself, and then you've got to go over and do it again. So we just wanted to come up with a few little tips and ideas for you to think about when recruiting and bringing on staff.
I think there are pros and cons though, Tam, with recruiters. There is some positives about having a recruiter and engaging a recruiter.
The right recruiter. It's about the right recruiter.
Absolutely. And it is a very expensive exercise, but I do find at times they have picked up on certain things that we might not have necessarily picked up on, and part of the work's already done by the time we meet them as to interview. So, and also there's the retention period, I suppose, which quite often we would push out from 3 to 6 months, and I think most of it is it standard 6 months now?
No, I think it's 3 months. So even I think so whenever we brought people on, we always did a 6 month probation period, because we didn't find that 3 months was enough sometimes. So that was really important. It's part of our contracts. We had a 6 month probation.
And then if they didn't work out in that time, obviously we'd
move them on pretty quickly.
But we were covered by the recruiter's
100%
clause.
Oh, yeah. And then also, so that was in our personal contracts, but also like with the staff member, but also the contract with the recruiter. Sometimes I would charge you a bit more for that. It just depends, I guess, on the situation, and also the relationship you have with that recruiter if you've never used them before. Like anything.
We were fortunate we had great relationships, but I guess even though the person, we've had it a few times where they didn't work out, it still is disruptive to your business and your team. So it's really vital to get the right people first time.
Well, I think that's what we talked about. Recruiting for culture was sort of at the top of our list when you're as part of that retention process, whether you're doing that yourself or through a recruiter. I think that's sort of irrelevant to some degree, other than just not necessarily looking at the skill of the person, and the skills are important, but if they've got all the skills, they've been doing that job for 20 years and so experienced, but they don't quite fit your culture, it probably would be alarm bells to me, because it's not going to work out in the long time. You might keep them for 12 months, but, and then you have to find someone else, and, depending on the role, that your clients get upset, it sort of upsets your staff. So
you got to look at the bigger picture, don't you? And how they're going to mould and fit in with your team, and
100%.
Are they going to love coming to work and really have an impact and long term?
Yeah, you want them in your business long term. And what's long term? Look, I would say that I would want any staff member, ideally a minimum of 2 years. If and most of our staff, probably the average that we had was probably 3 to 5 years, I would say.
Closer to 5. I think we did I did the sums actually.
Yeah.
But
so, and you think if you're only keeping staff for 12 months, the cost to your business in lost time and turnover and also losing clients and things like that. So, recruiting for culture, you can train them on the skills if they're, got, the right they're the right person, but they haven't quite got the skills. You can train them up. If they're not going to fit your culture, you can't. It's difficult to mould that if they're just not your type of person for your business. It's just how it is. So they might be a great person, they might just not fit your culture. So that would be the first thing. And then the other thing that we did better and better over time was a thorough induction. We're going to actually cover what to include in an induction in our next podcast 23. But make sure you have a really thorough induction, and that kind of starts before they even start. You're inducting them into the business before they even start on day one, through how you set things up, how you've got their paperwork done, all those sort of things. So that's really important.
Has to be done correctly, otherwise the wheels will fall off very quickly.
And have a process, like everything, have a process for it. Yeah. So again, we'll cover that in more details next podcast if you want to find out a bit more about inductions.
And look, training, ensure that you're well set up for training and the program from day one. And a lot of new staff come into businesses, and certainly in our business we had different software, so making sure that we were setting them up to succeed. And sometimes it might mean that here's a manual, before they're starting, this is the software, here's some training videos that you can watch, to allow them to come to work day one and not be completely overwhelmed. But understand that they're new and that we need to work with them, and that we will be patient with them, but absolutely giving them the tools that they can work through to do the job that they need to do. Yeah. And the training goes also further with your team and knowing that the processes inside our business and what our expectation is. And obviously they're not going to know that unless we deliver that to them in the right format.
Absolutely. Something that I think we did really well within the business when new people came on was identifying, we had a list of all the things that they needed to learn depending on the role. And I'll use property management as an example. There's a lot of different areas there. And so we would say, okay, well, Liv is great at arrears, for example. So we're going to get that new person to sit with her and learn all about how to efficiently and effectively manage arrears and our expectations. Now, that was somewhat of a basic thing in property management, but if you've got someone that's a superstar at it, and just because they might have done that role somewhere else, I say, oh, yeah, I know how to do that. You want them to do it your way.
Exactly.
So that if they're away, someone can do that and it's done the same way, and vice versa. They don't get, oh, well, I had so-and-so on the phone and this is what they said. And, Liv does it so much differently, or, so you need it consistently through the business. So get the people that are best at that task to train the new person in it.
But you also want to protect your process because new people come in and out of your business and how they have done things for many years, that allows the opportunity for that to creep into your business, and you don't want that. So it's really important to say, no, this is our way, this is our process, but it's
non-negotiable.
But train them on it so they know and monitor it, and then tick it off. Make sure, you're going to obviously, I think it's very time consuming to have people come into your business, and it's very overwhelming for staff, and it takes a lot of time to get them up and running. So if you share that load throughout the business, it's going to work better, it's going to work smoother, and it's going to be delivered in the appropriate way. It's not going to be shortcutted or,
Yeah. But I think you also owe it to your team as the business owner or team leader to recruit well the right person, because otherwise your staff who are helping doing all this training, they're more than happy to help with the training because they want it to be done right too, but they're going to be peed off with you if you're recruiting the wrong people, and then they're going to have to keep doing this over and over again. So they're usually happy to help out and quite proud to say, oh, you're really good at that, so, can you teach the person? But you've got to do the right thing by them and recruit the right people. I mean, you're not always going to 100% get it right, but if you get it right most of the time, then they're going to be more than happy to help you training them.
And let's be honest, they're going to come to you straight away. They're not going to be backwards and coming forwards and saying, I think this might not be the right person for the job.
Yeah, I did call one person, an ex-sales manager that I employed, and geez, did I get hammered for that. I don't know what I was thinking. But anyway.
We'll move on. Regular one-on-one catch-ups. This is key as well inside a business, any business for staff, and it's for several reasons. I think it's important to understand how each staff member is travelling on a personal front as well as in a business sense.
Yep.
Because I think you need to connect and create that relationship, but also making sure that they're comfortable enough to communicate when things are not okay. The last thing we used to say we want from our staff is if they make a mistake, they don't feel that they can come to us. So really from day one, I think you need to have that open communication. The door's always open. You're welcome to come to me for anything at all, and really promote that throughout your department so that the team all are following
but also
suit.
That they know who to go to for the different things, because there was no use them coming to us for a payroll issue, generally speaking. They needed to know who to go to for what, so that people's time wasn't getting wasted. But obviously from a point of view, for staff issues, potentially if that was us to come to that, or as you said, if they made a mistake, that they can come to us and know we're not going to belittle them or berate them. That would be forming
part of our, what's our next topic? Induction.
Yeah, so we will. Yeah. But
regular one-on-ones.
Can I just say that when you have a new person start, a regular one-on-one might be a daily quick catch-up with them.
in the morning.
So it might be just, or the morning or at the end of the day, how did your day go? What did you learn? Are you feeling overwhelmed? How are you feeling? So just touching base with them at the start or end of each day, and that might go on for a week, and then you might be weekly catch-ups, and depending on their role, that might go to then fortnightly or monthly. So just, that is going to change depending on how long they've been within your business and the role that they're doing.
But absolutely, sometimes what you can pick up really fast, others might take an extra couple of hours or a day. So, you know, everyone's different. But
100%. I think the other thing which we obviously has always been really important to us is to have a positive culture. So if someone's coming into a business, so before they even start in the business, to let everyone know that that person is coming so that they feel welcome, that
so I think
they know their name.
If you interviewed or I interviewed and we said, right, we've got this person coming on board, you would first or I would first touch base. Congratulations, the phone call. We both would do that, and that is starting off on a good note. Yeah. But then we'd take it the next level and we'd share their details with the team and they would welcome them as well.
Johnny Smith's starting next week. Here's his mobile. You're welcome to send him a text, or this is where he's come from, what he's doing. And then the day before, just a reminder, Johnny's starting tomorrow. Please make him feel welcome, just so that there's not this, who's this strange person walking around our office?
And then the receptionist knew, oh, hi, such and such, welcome. It's your first day. They knew about it. And that's just a really nice welcoming and embracing moment for the new person, because let's be honest, starting a new job is quite overwhelming. And
we did have people that we knew of, not, I don't believe in our business, but people that we know of, and there was more than one. A few of them had started jobs, and within a week, we actually had a staff member leave our office, which we were devastated about, started at a new office, was there for half a day and called me and said, Tamara, I've made a mistake. Can I please come back? And I was like, yes, we didn't want you to leave in the first place. And she was like, I just walked into that office and it just didn't have the same vibe. It didn't feel the same. We left her own, basically left her own advices. So that, you know, that first day, they could walk out in that first day or that first week or that first couple of weeks. So that first, you know, those first impressions are so important, and to have a phone call before they even start or a text message from another team member saying, oh, excited that you're starting, Johnny, or whatever, you know, that makes them feel really special. And they would say that, oh, it was so nice, you know, Lynn sent me a nice text or whatever. You know.
But you look at the environment of our office, it was very bright. We had lots of, you know, plants, scent of, you know, the smell.
We had candles burning.
Pictures.
Yeah, nice artwork. And there were some areas that didn't have natural light, so we made sure that it was as good as possible, and we had like the air, I don't know, those things that move the air around and give fresh
Purifiers.
Air. That's it. And, you know, nice artwork and things like that. And nothing was necessarily super expensive. It just made it look and feel nice that you wanted to be there.
Well, they've got to spend, on average, they were there 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You want to be in a nice environment.
100%. And you don't want them having an excuse not to want to come into work. In other words, if they prefer to work from home, you sort of actually want them, when they do come in, even if they're working from home part of the time, that they actually enjoy coming in.
But pictures, and we were very pro, you know, make it your space. One lady I remember brought in terrariums. There was plants everywhere. But it was her space, and I actually enjoyed that she felt comfortable enough to do that. So
I think, definitely just having that positive and fun culture, which we've talked about in a previous podcast about bringing that fun back. So if you sort of want some ideas on that, go and listen to that podcast.
Absolutely.
But yes, I think the vibe that they get the day from the minute they walk in, even from that interview to, you know, obviously that first week they start with you, they will know whether they feel comfortable or not, and you'll get a better sense of whether they suit your business. But you know, hopefully you've done all the things at the start to know that they're going to fit in with your business, but you just then want to make them feel really welcome.
Absolutely.
And have all the training that they need.
6 monthly catch-ups. This is another thing that we found most beneficial to you and I, our business and planning just generally throughout the business. We used to get the team to fill out their own self-appraisal form, which some loved, some didn't.
Well, I think, you know, what it did, it was very helpful to us.
It was.
And we asked questions like, what are you most proud of for the, you know, that you've achieved in the last 6 months? What further training do you want? Are there any things that you'd like to implement within the business? And where do you want to be in 3 years' time or 2 years' time or whatever?
Personal and in business. I think we tried to cover off on a bit of both.
So that made it, you know, at the end of the day, it made it maybe a little bit challenging for them because they had to really think about the answers to their questions. And often they'd say, I filled in most of it. There's a couple I couldn't fill in or I doubled up, whatever. But we could read that before and go, oh, okay, so they're interested in going into another area, or they're most proud of that thing they did. Oh, yes, I'll make sure I recognise that.
Disappointed about?
Yeah, what they're most disappointed about, and then we can talk about that. So it's the opportunity to bring up things so that's not festering for them. And, and any ideas they might have to improve the business or to improve what they're doing. So it made it quite a positive meeting, but also addressed any sort of issues that they might have. And usually, like if we had an issue with that staff member or that we had to address them on something during that meeting, often they will have mentioned it in there. So it just made that whole process a little bit smoother and softer. And because initially I found it was a bit challenging to, what am I going to talk about in this, know?
But the part I loved about this, and which ties in nicely with retaining staff, is understanding. So just say, as an example, they've been in the business for 12 months. They feel they're ready for the next step. So what does that look like to them? How does that fit in with our business? What do we need to do to get them or to allow them to take that next step?
And do we want them to take that next step?
Do we see value long term? And if we do, we need to be pro in understanding, hearing what it is that they're looking to do and achieve, why they want to do it, and how we can work together as a team to move forward to have that change and have them grow personally and in the business. Because if we don't see that and capture that opportunity, they're going to go somewhere else.
100%.
So tying it back into the topic at hand of retention and keeping staff, if you can do this every 6 months with your team, you're going to be setting yourself up for long-term retention in your business.
And to make sure that they understand that these 6 monthly reviews aren't necessarily a pay review. I think it's really clear so that they're not expecting every 6 months they're going to get a pay increase. That's, and that sort of thing can be even talked about a little bit in the induction depending on what their role is. But I feel that if you don't, sometimes I think people say you have a fantastic receptionist and you don't want them to leave, but you don't want to give them another role because they're so good on reception. Well, you're going to lose that person anyway.
Yeah.
So you may as well take that person that's an awesome receptionist and put them into, plan that if they want to move into another role, that you upskill them into that role over the next 12 months, because otherwise they're just going to leave and you're going to have to find a new receptionist anyway.
But you could also still have a bit of both, capture that, okay, they're fantastic at meet and greet at the reception, but also introduce another job or another task that's going to give them the stimulation that they might possibly need to keep them happy
until they get to that next role. Yeah.
Because not everyone can do everything. Not everyone's going to be great at everything. No. So they may think and feel that that's what they want. And deep down we know, well, from previous experiences, they may not be capable or the right fit for that position. So I think it's just being also honest with them, and if they really do want that opportunity to give them some tasks or some training to help work them towards that, so that they don't just say, oh, they're not interested in me progressing or whatever, and they hopefully then stay within your business. Well, I think it's going to be quite deflating if they're raising something that they're looking to do and achieve, and we just brush it off. So you've got to be very tactful in how you approach that, understand that, hear what they're saying, make them feel like you care and that you're going to work with them.
And even send them out and just maybe for a few days in that role, whatever it is, and see if you like it before we look to put you in there. Spend a couple of days in that role and see how you feel.
I think,
particularly if you think there's some concerns there, maybe you just say, well, just give it a go. And
because if you don't and you just ignore during these conversations, there will be a shift in the relationship. There'll be a shift in the mood, and there'll be a shift in the output.
And then they won't do that other job well.
And that's not what you want for your business. No. So you need to have open, happy, good, solid communication and discussions around this, and both leave the meeting feeling, oh, that went well.
And so I think just in summing up around that is talking to them about their plans for the future, identifying skills that they need to get to that role and helping them in that. It could be some leadership skills and leadership training and that sort of side of it. And then I think the last thing there, that we sort of talked about is connecting with them on a personal level, potentially, depending on your business, even at a family level with your different social events and things that you might have. So I for instance, I know a situation that we had, and there's probably been several of these where staff were, maybe they're a bit over it, they'd had a bad week or a bad month, and they'd maybe said to their partner, oh, maybe I should go somewhere else. And the partner said, the grass is not greener on the other side. You're in a great business. Tam Lanes really look after you. Maybe you should have a chat to them.
Yeah.
And that happened more than once because we'd built relationships with
family,
the partners through our family days, and we would get to know them, or our quarterly events where partners are invited to, etc. So I think if depending on the size of your business, if you're able to do that, I don't think there's any negatives. I think it's only positives if you can start building relationships. I even had one of the mothers of one of my staff insist that they stay in the business because they knew the industry well and said that you get really well looked after and, pull your head in sort of thing. So it's interesting, how that can work. You just, by building those relationships with people's family, because at the end of the day, you are we were our we had our own work family in the end. And so you are going to have your ups and downs like you do in, a normal household. So.
Look, we're nearly 12 months post our selling out of our business, Tam, and we still catch up regularly with a lot of our staff, or they communicate with us via text message or phone calls, or, we do catch up in person. And we also interact and ask, how are the kids? Or, certain birthdays, we still connect and celebrate that. And I think that's great. And if you have the opportunity to invest in your team, you can certainly follow that through to their immediate family. And it doesn't have to be an expensive exercise. It could be just lunch in the park. I
remember someone said to me once, actually it might have been our business coach Ross, I can't remember 100%, but would you have dinner? Would you invite that person for dinner, like in terms of your staff? And, to look around and go, okay, well, out of my staff, these are the people that would feel I'd comfortable inviting them to dinner. By the end of our business, I think there's pretty much everyone within our business I'd be comfortable. Yep. In fact, we did have events at my home at different times.
Yeah.
I would feel comfortable having them over for dinner. That was the relationship. No matter what their role or whatever, I felt comfortable, I trusted them, and that they had my back. And that's, that doesn't happen from day one often in a business as you're growing, particularly if you've got quite a few staff.
You do have to separate
you do.
Your business.
You need to be able to, because I did employ some friends and we were able to separate, work from personal, but also obviously we became friends even though we sort of obviously worked together. So, you need to be able to separate that.
But I think at the end of the day, it's all about communicating, treating people with respect, looking after each other.
And getting to know them,
and have genuine care.
100%. I think that's a great note to end on, genuine care.
Genuine care. And then I think your retention's going to not be an issue inside your business, hopefully.
Absolutely. And just a little reminder to our listeners if you haven't done the leadership quiz, jump onto our website, businessbydesignduo.com.au, and at the top, take our leadership quiz. And we'd love to see you doing that and get a bit of feedback from you. Send us a text or an email or whatever, and let us know how you found it.
Fantastic. I think we'll leave it there, Tam.
Thank you.
Have
great
a great
to
day.
see you.
Yes, likewise.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you for tuning in, and congratulations on getting to the end. If you loved this episode, why don't you hit the subscribe button, share this podcast with a friend, and leave a review. Reviews and referrals are the best way to help a small business. If you are interested in downloading any of our free business resources, go to businessbydesignduo.com.au and click on the Business Resources tab. We're Elaine and Tamara, and we can't wait to have you back for our next episode. You can connect with us on socials, Business by Design Duo, or go to our website, businessbydesignduo.com.au. Have an amazing day.